All right, Christian. Um, let's take it back. What are some of your strongest memories from growing up in Shellman, Georgia, and how did those early experiences shape your outlook on life?
Some of my early memories of growing up in Shellman probably was being around family all the time, playing basketball, just being outside in nature. And it taught me, how to keep family first, how to be humble, and to remember where I came from.
Right. Um, you've been open about hitting tough walls in Jacksonville, Florida. What was the biggest lesson you learned during that season, and how did it change your faith?
The biggest lesson for me was keeping God first because a lot of time I wasn't keeping God first. I was too busy chasing women, chasing basketball, chasing money. That I lost focus of the most important thing, which was God. So eventually, I turned it around towards my end before I left Jacksonville and kind of got my head on straight and stopped chasing the things that used to make me feel good for a short period of time
Yeah,
and really just stayed focused. And for my faith, it just helped me build my faith stronger because if God got me through the stuff that I went through and got me to where I am now, He can do it for anybody else.
that's true. That's so true. I'm a living testimony for that.
Now, if you want to know how I stand here erected here on this position that got you to listen, or to Rock the Mic by Malik Majid, I laid it out in my published composition. Assalamu alaikum.
um, now that you're in Atlanta, how has the
Mhm.
city challenged or inspired your sense of purpose and discipline?
Funny because moving to Atlanta, definitely more distractions, a lot more different women than it was in Jacksonville. So it's definitely, it's easy. Well, it's been pretty easy for me to stay focused on my path, and moving here, it's been pretty good. Just been building connections, trying to extend my reach to the younger generation, to different people, to my peers, just to try to introduce them to who Jesus is and just get them on the right path.
Okay, okay. Um, you're super transparent about your struggles, lust, temptation, heartbreak. What gave you courage to be so open, and how has it impacted your listeners?
Um, Honestly, God is the only reason I've been able to talk about this. Usually, I don't talk. I never really talked about like my journey or my path or myself before this podcast. So, talking about how I was addicted to porn and the sex and just a lot of things, it definitely helped. It helped my listeners because it made them feel like they weren't the only ones going through that. To let them know that somebody's actually speaking out on it, and
Yeah,
it kind of gives them the confidence to be able to, well, if he's struggling with it, he's getting the help. They can get the help too, because it's never too late to get the help you need to, get back on the road that you're supposed to be on.
that's correct. That's so true. Um, your mission is to help people live set apart. What does that look like in your own daily life? And why is it especially important for young adults right now?
So living set apart. So for me on daily life, it just means going to work, not gossiping, keeping my head on straight, remembering what my purpose is on this earth, which is spreading the word. Also being set apart means not doing what everybody else is doing. Everybody going clubbing, partying, drinking, smoking. I don't do none of that. I just stay in my lane. I'll come home. I don't even go out for real, go party. None of that. So I just just set apart is just keeping my morals and being disciplined.
Okay, okay. What inspired you to launch the Christian K podcast, and what's been the most rewarding moment so far?
What inspired me to come out with the Christian K podcast was it was a lot of podcasts about a whole lot of nothing. It was a lot about bad things that wasn't helping nobody get no further in life. A lot of I don't want to use stupid things, but just useless material that didn't really help anybody, but just entertain foolishness, you know. So, the most rewarding thing that came out of creating a Christian K podcast is just helping people. It's all about helping people. A lot of people have been helped. I had a lot of people say, "Listen to my podcast." They're doing things differently to kind of help themselves. So, the whole purpose of creating the podcast was just to help you know, any generation, anybody who listened to it to just get better because there's no time limit on doing good or getting back on your path. Everybody's path is different.
That's right. That's right. Your single but set apart series really resonated. Why do you think the topic of singleness is so important? And what's the biggest misconception you want to clear up?
So one of the biggest misconceptions I want to clear up with being single is that you don't have to date a lot of people at one time. You don't have to have sex with everybody you go on a date with. You don't have sex at all if you don't want to. There's a lot of things that the world make it seem like it's okay that you don't have to do, and you can still date. What was the first part of the question? My bad.
It's okay. Your series. Um, why do you think the topic of singleness is so important?
It's important because everybody goes through a period of singleness before eventually getting married and doing all that. So during that single season, I believe that's time for you to develop your own relationship with God, achieve some goals that you want to achieve. I'm not saying you can achieve them with somebody else, but it's the time to focus on you, heal, focus on your financial standpoint, get in shape if that's what you want to do. Just focus on yourself because when you get married, it's no more you, it's us because it's two people.
That's correct. That is so correct.
Mhm.
um, with warfare ready, you're talking spiritual battles. What's one practical tip you'd give someone who feels under attack spiritually?
Read the word and stay prayed up. That's one of the biggest things when it comes to spiritual warfare. The devil don't like when you pray. The devil don't like when you know your word. So during that time, that's what you should be doing the most. When people wake up in the middle of the night, they think it's because they can't sleep. It's because you need to be in your word reading. Because that's when the devil like to attack the most is during the night when sleeping hours.
Mm, okay. Um, you're juggling podcasting, writing, multiple jobs, and fitness. How do you stay disciplined and motivated when life gets overwhelming?
I keep a set schedule. Keep God first. No matter what, I always make time for reading my word and praying. That's the two things I make sure I do when I first wake up. So when I start my day off with that, everything else would play itself out. If I'm unable to go to the gym, I can always make time for it later. I don't overexert or overwork myself. But I do make sure the top two things is to pray and read my word every day.
That's the way everyone should be.
Mm-hmm.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be? And what do you hope listeners take away from your story?
The piece of advice I would give my younger self would be women is always going to be there. Stop chasing them. I spent the majority of my high school and 18 through 20-year-old self chasing women, doing things I wasn't supposed to do. So that would be my advice because I could have put that effort and time into getting closer with God, basketball, just focus on things that I like to do rather than just doing things because somebody else wanted me to do them or just trying to impress somebody. And I hope
Yeah.
listeners, understand that, you don't have to be in a relationship to be happy. You don't have to be with somebody to feel like you are complete. Your happiness comes from within. So when you meet somebody, they shouldn't make you happy. They should add to your happiness that you already have.
Okay. Um, where can your fans find you online?
They can find me on Instagram at the real Christian K 26. TikTok at Christian K Podcast, Facebook at Keith Price Jr.
Okay. Do you have anything new that's coming out you would like to discuss?
Yeah, I have a couple things. So I'm on my last two episodes of my series. Last two episodes coming out. But you can listen to it on Spotify and the Block 105 and SoCal radio station every Saturday at 11 o'clock a.m. Also coming out with a book. It's called
Oh,
Becoming Christian K. It should be out looking like January, February ish. I'm
okay.
trying to finish that up, and I'm working on speaking engagements. Start my motivational speaking journey to help others around the world understand that everybody has different paths in life, and just try to help them to turn towards God and let God, write the story of their life rather than trying to write their own story.
That's right. That's right. Okay, Christian. Well, it's been wonderful interviewing you tonight.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.